In the 250 division, finishing in third, riding for Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Austin Forkner. Finishing in second, riding for Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Dylan Ferrandis. And your winner, first-time winner, riding for Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Justin Cooper. Congrats, Austin. In that main event, you had the lead. You and Justin kind of going a little bit back and forth in time and had the mistake, jumped off to the right there. What was going through your mind in the air? Did you know you were coming down on the blocks and right there for the next 5-10 seconds, what was your response to the mistake that you made? Didn't obviously go down all the way, but somewhat kept it on two wheels. And just take us through those 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go down. It just depends kind of how you land on the tough blocks. Sometimes if you land like on them, they'll just roll and then the bike goes. But I didn't land on them. I just scraped my pegs all the way and then until I finally just stopped. And then obviously I knew Justin was going to get by me, and then I didn't really know who was back in like third or fourth. But then Dylan came and got me, and I was just trying to like not. I was trying to not fall all the way down. So I kind of had to get off the bike, and then the bike shot to the left, and if I would have turned around, I would have been basically facing, like I could have turned around, but I would have been I could see guys coming down the rhythm lane, so I was like, I went and I entered the track. I thought a pretty safe way. I kind of like got Dylan back, so I waited and he went, and then I just tucked him behind him, and that was that.
So you knew that you had made the cut. It looked like you slowed down a little bit to make sure you went back to third.
Yeah, I slowed up. In those situations, it's hard to know exactly the right thing to do, especially like I knew that I missed. Like I was already pissed that I, gave up the lead, and then second. And then I was like, okay, I just get back on the track and get back in the race, basically. So it was just a quick decision. I thought, I thought I made the right decision. I don't know what. That decision's probably higher up than me, going to be made there, but whatever.
Dylan, you mentioned to me on the podium that the early laps you were maybe trying a little too hard, making some mistakes, and can you just take us back to those first few laps? Because you sat there in that maybe 5, 6, 7 spot for a couple laps, and was it the mistakes or just kind of figuring out where you were? It did take you a little while to get going and make those moves.
Yeah, but start again, and just see the guy in front and try to hurry up a little bit, maybe too much, made some small mistake, and stuck in the traffic. So lose a little bit time, and after when I was third, I push, but I don't know, today I just ride a little bit tight. During the main, I ride a little bit tight. I don't know, maybe, I think it's just because it's the first of the season and it's A1 and a lot of pressure and a lot of goal and stuff like that. So I just a little bit disappointed, not about the result, but more my riding, because I should ride better. And second, like last year, it's a little bit disappointed for me. But last year start like this and finish with the championship. So we'll see. We have we have a nine race to go. We'll see. But everything is all light or green, and just have to take the win next weekend.
Justin, last year you had podium finishes. You ran up front, but never were in a position to get the win. Never got a win. 5 minutes left or so in that main event. What are you thinking at that point, knowing that you're about to close this thing out and get your first win, not only of your career, but at Anaheim?
Yeah, it was, you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth there. It's kind of how it went, and I was putting pressure on Austin, just kind of seeing where I was faster and like where I could try and make a pass at the end, and he ended up making a mistake earlier than I expected. So once that happened, I kind of just started, didn't slow down. If anything, I picked it up from that point on and just made sure I kept my gap and had a steady lead for the rest of the race. But yeah, I kept looking at the timer. It was going down each lap like a minute, and just trying not to focus too much on it. But it felt like a long race from there on out. So to do it here is pretty special to me. It's a big race, all the hype's around this, so it's a great way to start the season.
Dark Side Moto Spot Show. Justin and Austin, you guys race each other pretty aggressively. Maybe some tension, I don't know. You guys get out there and you're racing, and when you start racing that way, and Austin, I see you look over, sometimes you start slowing down because you guys are almost riding defensively. Where do you find that line to keep plugging ahead instead of worrying about what the other guy's doing? Either one of you can, or both of you could answer that.
When you get passed by the guy behind both of you,
Yeah.
that's the point where you're messing around too much. Where I mean the heat race thing was like I was focused on Alex, and then I didn't even know where he was, and then so that was just completely unexpected for me. Yeah, that when you start, I mean, you see it all the time. Like when you start playing cat and mouse with guys too much, and you start slowing down that much, and if somebody catches you, that's the point where you guys are gonna have to figure it out. I mean,
yeah, it was just like a 3-rider freight train, and I went to set him up. I swept in after the triple, cut up the inside, and went up the inside all the way up the rhythm. I think he heard me like a couple jumps left and started moving over to the inside, and by that point I was already committed and just went in, railed the turn, and I guess there was no really room left for him, so really didn't mean to take anyone down, just trying to make a pass, and yeah, I mean that kind of stuff happens sometimes, so just move forward from it.
Chris from Cooksey Media. Austin, you had some words for him after that. Can you share any of those with us?
yeah, I mean, I basically was like, I said that was a bold move for the first race of the season, but I mean, it is what it is. I was obviously, I was mad about it. Should have just left, but oh well. I mean, whatever. Whatever.
Okay, so both of you guys raced east last year. This is for both of you. Why did you go west this year?
My team put me west. That's why. I didn't really have that. I mean, on my team, we don't really have a say. We just, you go here, you go here. That's just how it is on my team, so I don't know.
I think it's pretty much the same for me, but they kind of wanted to be honest, they wanted to split up Dylan and Shane. Felt like they had the advantages. They're established, successful riders in the 250 class. So, I mean, yeah, I've been ready. So I'm not against being west at all. I mean, when you're ready to go racing, you don't want to hear that you're prepping for A1, and then you're like, oh, you're east. So then what do you do with that for the next 6 weeks? You're like, dang, like I'm ready to go racing. I should be racing, but that's how I feel, and I'm glad I lined up.
Jason Wygant from RacerX. You had a little injury from Motocross of Nations. You were obviously ready to race West anyway, so just how did your off-season go, and did that set you back at all?
I took 4 weeks off the bike. My hand got just smashed, so it didn't feel right for that amount of time, but just no rush to get back on the bike. It was a long year, and I think I was healed, and I still wasn't on the bike. Just wasn't in no rush to get back on the bike at that point, and I think I got back in November sometime and just had a good couple weeks on Supercross, and then really started feeling good in December, and just been ready ever since these last 2 or 3 weeks. I've really felt like I've been coming into the season prepared. And last year in the East, it was kind of my rookie year, so I wanted to be winning, but I just wasn't good enough. I was trying too hard, and I was making dumb moves and stuff like that because I wanted to be up there, but it really wasn't there for me to take. So came in more prepared this year, and found I could win these with my skill level now, and I'm confident in my riding and the team. So it's definitely good to get this confidence boost and know I can do it.
Steve Giberson with Vital MX. Austin, it's nice to see you back racing after the summer off, but you had the crash in practice. What was the injury, and was there any question whether you would be racing and lining up tonight?
I don't think so. Those whoops were pretty chewed up, and it's just, trying to go fast through them, and they were pretty close together and just skipped one early. I was trying to set my front wheel on the third one, and it went over the third one and down in, and just was kind of sketchy, and then crashed and just scuffed my back up, just took the wind out of me, rung my bell a little bit, but it was all good. It wasn't really like if I was going to race or not. It's just, if it was going to hurt to race, or, but I was fine. It did, unless you're hurt that bad, everything usually numbs up when the gate drops, so.
For Justin, winning your first Supercross is a huge deal, but then the first thing everyone says is, oh, it's a long season, I can't get too high, I can't get too low. So how do you balance that? Like, obviously you want to savor this a little bit, but you also can't. So what are your feelings, and how are you going to approach this into the week ahead?
I'm on a high. I'm going to stay on a high.
Okay.
That's all there is to it. I'm going to, wherever it takes me from here is fun. It's good to get the first one out of the way. It's a good learning curve for me, and just really happy with the way I rode tonight. I felt like I was patient, felt like I hit all my marks, and I felt like I was consistent. So, I'm just going to stay on a high all week, I guess you could say.
Okay. One more just for Dylan. You got a good start to your heat race. You seemed really happy about that. Your smile was big. The starts have been a problem in previous years. Did you feel coming into this race that you had that rectified, or is the main event like, still got to go to the drawing board on that?
I don't know. Tough question. Main event, I was on the right of Austin, and I just got obviously all shot, and I closed the door, so I was in a bad situation. But I don't know. Yeah, for sure, I was really proud to make a good start in the heat race, because last year was really a problem to start. So yeah, we see next weekend. One good, one bad. We see what I can do next weekend on Star Wars.
Dylan, does defend the champ, does that create more pressure to defend, or take some off because you proved that you're capable?
A little bit both, for sure. When you ride with the number one place, is adding some pressure, but I just try to stay focused on myself and don't look at anything. And obviously was good until the main, but even in the main, initial event was not so bad.
All right, thanks, guys. For KTM, Red Bull, Motorex, Cooper Webb. Finishing in second, riding for Monster Energy Kawasaki, Adam Cianciarulo. And your winner, riding for Monster Energy Yamaha Factory Racing, Justin Barcia. Congrats, guys. Cooper, just take us through the day. We found out after qualifying that you were dealing with the sickness. How challenging was that? And from start to finish, how were you able to kind of overcome and fight through what you went through today?
Yeah, it was a tough day for sure, but it's, sometimes that happens, so it was good to go out and, practice wasn't anything great. I think I was around 15th, so that wasn't too good, but I felt like when the race started, the heat went pretty good, and then main event just kind of plugged away, and had a decent start and made a few good passes, and found a good little comfort zone there in third, and just kind of rode it on in.
Adam, you've had a pretty good off-season. You guys have put in a lot of work, and obviously you come into the opening round feeling confident in what you've done, but you don't really know until you hit the track. And after free practice and both qualifying sessions, did it all kind of sink in that, the work was right, we're ready to go racing?
Yeah, you still have that little bit of, even after practice, you're still kind of wondering where you fit in a race setting. Because, I've been around long enough to where there's guys that are, like Cooper, for example, right? He can go out and qualify 15th, and he's going to be there in the main event every time. It's just, practice is, I don't know. I've always felt pretty comfortable and felt like I could throw fast laps down, but definitely feel like I'm lucky enough to be able to kind of ride with Eli and ride with Ken, so I have a good gauge of, where the speed is, and I know that I'm not too far off or anything. So I felt like I had a good chance if I kept my head on straight.
Justin, there's been a lot of talk coming into this season about how you made bike changes, you started over and built the bike around you, and one of the things that people have talked about is that you went back to riding your way, which is more aggressive, rev it out, let it go. Was that the changes that were needed for you to be able to feel comfortable again? Because you did look, I'd say, more like old Bam Bam.
Yeah, thank goodness it was a big off season, a lot of work, a lot of new employees at Yamaha. It was very positive to see they knew they weren't in a good place. Cooper left, and we seen what Cooper did, and we went to the drawing board and changed a lot of things this year. We still have a lot of work to do, obviously, but we reset big time. We got Sergio over there now. He's been around forever, worked with James Stewart, Ron Villapoto, you name it, he's worked with him. So me and him bonded really well. We don't have a test rider, so I did all the work myself. Never rode so much in my life, but really enjoyed it, and it showed, everything I did. It worked tonight. I rode a lot of different tracks. I raced in Europe this year, and the bike worked pretty good everywhere. So it was. I was nervous coming in here for sure. I wasn't sure, what the bike was going to be like. I knew I liked it pretty much everywhere I rode. So, it was good here. Definitely exciting. Good things to come for sure.
Without there being a test rider, you being that guy pretty much, is there things that you've learned the last few months that you didn't know before about a bike, and just learning how to craft something towards your liking? Things that you've learned?
Yeah, for sure. We don't get factory parts from Japan. That's just not really a thing anymore, at least for Yamaha. So we do a lot of in-house things, and for me, the bike's pretty chassis standard setup. I'm running stock triple clamps. The engine I requested a lot of things last year and it didn't happen. And this year, when Sergio came in, the things I requested, he agreed with me, and it was cool to see that. Just kind of, we got the things that I asked for this year, and that was a good feeling to, the things I asked for worked for me. So it was cool to see that, and it made me happy. And I think it helps a lot. I'm becoming a better rider all around. I've learned a lot of things about the motorcycle. I feel like I've matured a lot and a lot smarter. So it's a good feeling to do your own work for sure.
Adam, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. What was it like to be in 450s? Obviously the longer race distance, but lead at around the sort of midway point. What was that race distance like for you?
Yeah, it's quite a lot different. As a 250 guy, you do 20s, you practice, during the off season. A lot of the time you're doing the longer motos, 20+1 or whatever, but race setting's always different. The track breaks down more, obviously going from the gate, so the heart rate's higher right from the get-go. As a practice moto, you're kind of getting into your flow, but it was crazy, man, getting out front and leading. And I honestly I didn't feel too nervous. Like, I felt more nervous last year on the 250s and definitely the years prior, but it's crazy, man. There's so many good guys. It's like I just don't look over. I don't look right. I don't look left. I just pretend like there's nobody else out there. Like, it's the only thing you can do because everybody's so good. So it was cool to kind of be up front in the battle.
Justin, you talked about the bike changes. We've heard a lot about that. Tonight's some of the best riding I've seen you do. Super aggressive. We each made a comment about how quick you were in the corners. How much of that is the bike, and how much of that is maybe just something with yourself, that you've changed?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely went back to the drawing board before the season. The bike, obviously, it was, I won Anaheim last year, but it was a mud race. I think any motorcycle can, do a mud race. And I'm a really good mud rider, so that was cool. But then after that, it was a rocky road to ride for sure. So, the bike is a big help. But like I said, I went back to drawing board. My really good friend, Levi Kilbarger, we used to train together back in the day on 250s, and I brought him out to California, and he worked with me on things. You can hire a trainer, and you don't always listen to him, or I've had a lot of trainers, and it just something never really clicked. Best one I have is Jeff Stanton. I enjoyed working with him, but to bring a friend in that knows what they're doing and what they're talking about, he shoots it straight. He's like, he'll tell me if I suck or if I don't, and other people, I just feel like these days just want to check and sugarcoat it. So it was cool to have him on board. It was awesome today. Starts. I haven't got good starts in forever, so that was cool to see all the hard work I put in starts, and also my riding on the track was good. So it's it was a little bit of riding and a lot of bike as well.
Cooper, similar question to what I asked Dylan. You've been a champion. We heard Jason Anderson kind of talk about all the things that come with winning a championship that he didn't like doing. Did any of that put any extra pressure on you? Did it affect you in any way for coming into this year?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody handles it differently for sure, but it was more of a confidence booster, kind of knowing that, hey, I was able to achieve that last year. So I feel like I kind of know what to expect this year, and I can do a lot of things a lot better than I did last year, but I kind of know how to achieve that goal. So for me, I thought it was pretty cool, to see the number one, and here at Anaheim on the 450 was very special. So yeah, obviously it comes with responsibilities, but that's what we work for.
Chris from Cooksey Media. Adam, what did you do to Justin Hill? He was trying to kill you every time he got a chance.
Really? I thought it was fine. No, so one of the first laps of the heat race, I had to go super far inside because I think it might have been Cooper. Somebody was on my inside, and I felt like I was going to get plowed if I didn't go super far inside. And I kind of, I didn't run into him, but I kind of came out of the corner of his eye, and he was probably like, what are you doing? But and then I made a mistake in the heat, and I went wide in the corner. And I was at the top rut, and he was totally going to get me, like no matter what. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just ride up here. And he came across all the ruts, and I was like, man, really? Like, I'm off the track again, and we're like 3 minutes into this thing. But no, it was fun. Justin's always been cool. He's always been aggressive, really talented rider. So yeah, not trying to get any spats this early.
Yeah, Dan Lamb, Moto X Addicts. Adam, you and Cooper, you've been battling since Pee-wees. Loretta Lynn's champions, Monster Cup, 250s now here. Talk about a little bit about just being on the 450 podium and being where you're at now. It's the pinnacle of the sport.
Yeah, it's cool. Obviously, Cooper's had a great career. I've had a pretty decent one. I've accomplished some things, and it's just cool that I'm up here racing with all these guys. There's so many guys, and it's kind of cool that Cooper and I come from the same, I guess, generation. 1 or 2 years apart, and I always enjoy racing him. So. As you can see tonight, he's sick. I swear you could take a foot peg off the bike, he'd still find a way to get a podium. So, no, he's a good competitor. All these guys, man. I'm stoked to be up here, stoked to be battling, and just want to be in the fight.
Jason from RacerX. First, Sir Adam, you kind of said in the press conference yesterday, just try to stay away from the noise a little bit. There was a lot of hype, especially after you won Monster Cup. Then you were fastest in every practice. How did you not get too far ahead of yourself, or did you have to check yourself at times?
No, I mean, I think sometimes Monster Cup was kind of a little bit of a surprise for me. So when I got done with that, I was pretty stoked with where I was. I'm like, okay, maybe I could be a contender like first year. Like I wasn't quite sure where my head was at going into the season until after that. I was like, okay, got some momentum. But yeah, I think it's a constant. For me personally, I have to constantly level myself out because ultimately this stuff is so sick to me. Like I love this stuff. Like. I would be one of you guys if I didn't have the talent to race a dirt bike. I mean, I would be down there or, serving popcorn in the stands so I could catch a free seat. I mean, I love Supercross. So, just being up here with these guys and racing them, and even I passed Brayton earlier in the race. I'm like, dude, that's Justin Brayton. He's been around a long time. I mean, I was watching Budds Creek 03 the other day, and Brayton was out there, and even that stuff goes through my mind, and so it's a constant process for me of saying, chill out, like you belong here, you're one of these guys. But it's cool, it makes the tough times of the sport better, when you love it as much as I do.
When you did make a mistake and lost the lead, were you able to again check yourself and say, okay, hey, second would be awesome in the opener, or were you frustrated at one point?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I was like, so I felt really good. I made a mistake, kind of like knocked the wind out of myself. Justin just coming by me aggressive as he is, and I'm like, dude, I really didn't want to smoke. I was kind of good with second after that, to be honest with you. I settled a little bit too much and 3-4 laps ago, I told myself, my trainer Nick Way, he was going to be so pissed at me for settling. But Justin rode great, and I made the mistake, and he was better, so second it is.
So Cooper, you got a pretty quick turnaround to St. Louis. What does your week look like now that you're sick? Do you work through it? Do you rest? What do you do?
No, I'm not sure. I'm actually headed back to Florida and right out there, and St. Louis dirt is always pretty good and stuff. So I think our dirt is pretty similar. So yeah, I'll try to head east and recover. I think it's just kind of like a little 24-hour deal, or hopefully. So but yeah, it's quick week for sure, but we'll do everything in our power to get back to 100%.
Does Zach give this to you?
Yeah, we're too busy hanging out, you know.
Justin Schuler kicking the tires for Barcia and AC. Usually when we see two riders go after each other and go back and forth on track, it's usually one guy getting each other in the corner and the other guy getting each other out driving in the woods.
No, we're just sketchy, dude.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, you guys, you're just kind of look like the battle of like who's gonna make the mistakes. So like Barcia, you make that little slip, AC goes by you, and then AC you make the slip, and he goes back by you. Like, is that more of a mental game versus like a physical game?
Yeah, we were just pushing it pretty hard. My mistake was huge, not little. I landed on top of the tough blocks. Luckily, didn't crash, pop off side track, squirreled out, and got back on. But it was, when I got behind AC, I was like, all right, just be smart, try to reel it in if I can. And then he made a mistake, and I seen the opportunity and jumped in there. But yeah, I think we were pushing it pretty hard in that moment.
Yeah, I mean it's Anaheim 1 too, so obviously I guess the electricity is kind of in the air, for lack of a better term, and just excited out there. And I really don't feel like I wouldn't have done anything different. Like I kind of spun out on the triple face, and I hit the same line every lap, and it's maybe I gave it just a tiny more gas and it slipped out on me. So it wasn't one of those like brain fart deals. It's one of those things we're just pushing hard, and like I guess I'll front flip if I have to do it to win. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those deals where you're going to put it on the line.
For Justin, you won this race a year ago, and you were really adamant about don't let the highs get too high, but did it almost look like at one point like a fleeting moment, like, man, am I going to get all the way back up there and win Anaheim 1 again? Is it almost surreal to just, you got a perfect reset? It didn't work out for a championship last year, but you're back on top again. It just took a whole year to get back and win again.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'll be honest, last year I wasn't comfortable on the bike at all, so that was a huge shock. I'm not saying I came here to win this race, but I wanted to be up there somewhere and consistent. And my main goal is obviously the championship. I want to be in the fight all year, and I feel like where my motorcycle's at right now, I can do that. So last year, I physically, mentally, I won this race, but I wasn't. It probably wasn't my year, and obviously it wasn't. So I think where I'm at now, I'm in a really good place. I was. Once I got in the second, I was like, all right, this is all right. Just keep plugging away, and whatever it was. But like AC made that little mistake, and it fell in my hands a little bit. So I'll obviously take it for sure. It was great, but yeah, just excited, grateful, happy, all above.
Jack from the Cycle Drag YouTube channel. Justin, question for you: when you had your close call, how close were you to going down, and what was going through your mind as it was happening?
Hold on for dear life, and I was holding that Yamaha wide open. And when I landed on those tough blocks, to shoot off them, and I mean, you just, even like Forkner said, I think he got in the tough blocks a little, and you just never know what's going to happen when you hit those tough blocks. So, I went triple and got a little cross-rutted and just, sent me right to the right-hand side, and I landed right on top of those suckers, and luckily I just popped off and, rode back on the track, but it was definitely, got the blood pumping a little bit. I was able to regroup though. AC got me pretty good, and then I was able to plug away a little bit, and yeah, it was scary for sure.
Last question for you, Justin. When you hit the tough blocks, went off the track, got back on, it looked like you had a straight line to the end of the berm. There was a number 9 guy there.
Yeah.
Was there a second option possible? Because you did get off at the last second.
I could have T-boned AC for sure, but I'm not. I try not to be like that anymore. So if it was 250 days, I would have definitely 100%.
No, if I was Porcello, I'd be in the next lane.
Yeah.
2010, 2011.
Dino.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. No, not at all. I'm lucky I missed that era.
I'm in this for the long haul and just want to have fun racing. And Today was fun. It was a good race, and I love it. Like AC said, we live for this stuff. That's, you know, if you're not in it, you're not going to be up here. So we love this stuff, and it was awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for a great racing year. And what was cool as well is Justin Cooper. You know, we're just both kids from New York that had big dreams, and it's cool to see 2 New York winners up here. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, just stoked, ready for next weekend.
Congrats, guys.